Bon, bonsoir à tout le monde de nouveau. Deux mots du Ramon Pujadas, responsable du musée, je me suis trompé mais bon, et puis l'architecte de la rénovation Jordi Bazia, agence basse, fera une explication de la transformation de ce musée. Gracias.
Bonsoir. Qu'est-ce que vous préférez, le français ou l'anglais? Le français? English. So, welcome to the Museum of History of Barcelona, and particularly to this space, Oliva Artés, which is one of 19 heritage spaces or centers that spread the whole city, are used by the Museum of History of Barcelona to explain the history of the city to the citizens and to the visitors that come to visit Barcelona. And this place is very closely related, as you can see and you have seen, to the subject of this mixture of workshop and exhibition, because as you have seen, it's an ancient factory transformed in a museographic space. So it's part of the idea of this workshop, I think, to try to find a second life for this kind of heritage that many times is not enough considered by of the moment, because when we talk about heritage of the industrial period, it's not something exactly that when you think about Gothic or Romanic or things like that. It's a Romanesque period is different. So when we use buildings to prepare or to show another very different, we offer them a second life. We are also explaining to the people that it's important to keep this kind of structures that many times can disappear quickly, very quickly. So near here, a big part of a very big complex, Carl Ricard, has disappeared. So this is one part. The other part, because this place is closely related with the matter you are going to debate here, is because we use this space to explain the contemporary period of Barcelona from the point of view of urbanism and the transformation of the city due to the industrialization period, and later are shown here as a part of the whole relate or explanation about the history of Barcelona that has prepared the museum. So the architecture and urbanism are introduced here as a very main point of our explanation of the contemporary city. So I think the place is perfect for the things you are going to debate here, and you are very welcome. And I think it's much better that I offer now the word to Jordi Badia, who is the architect that directed the transformation of this space that you see.
Well, thank you. I will be very short because I'm not the main character in this event today. I am only the background. And I want to talk a little bit about the story of this project. This building was part of an old factory built in 1920. And this factory was dedicated to the manufacture of machines. The path of this project has been strange and complex. Maybe a reflection of the times in which it was developed. The original project was the result of a competition organized by the Barcelona City Council in 2009. But the economic crisis forced it to be postponed. So, in the meanwhile, it was not possible to make the renovation, so the City Council decided to make small interventions, small investments, to try only to repair the roof and to close the windows with temporary plastic. Only that. To try to slow down the deterioration of the building. And this building, as you can see, has a curious morphology with this central nave, two smaller side naves, like a church. And also, it has a strategic location on this axis of Pere-Quart, a street that played an important role in the past of the city of Barcelona. So it's worth to maintain this kind of buildings, because also of the memory of this space on the rest of the city. So the project has been adapted to the economic reality with a realistic attitude, gradually building the project little by little with these small provisional interventions. So obviously the project is different than the original that won the competition, very, very different. But with its precarity and disorder, it shows another way of rethinking this type of projects. More austere and more simple, maybe, and therefore perhaps more appropriate in a building without a high heritage value, such as this one. When the nave, the factory, was consolidated and protected, then the City Council decided to open it to the public with an exhibition about the recent history of the city that you have seen, that can be visited on the perimeter, which was supposed to be ephemeral, but it is still there. And in the last phase, that will not be the last one, we built the staircase and an elevator to reach the mezzanine, and built also the new access porch that connects the facility to the surrounding park. The staircase was originally planned to occupy the central space with certain prominence, but now is placed in a corner, trying to occupy as little space as possible. All the pieces are made of galvanized iron plates with a certain golden tone, which in some way alludes to the past time in which the building was built. Some basic ideas of the original project are still here. The main idea of the original project was to keep the interior of the space intact with all its richness of textures and materials. And for this, we added outside the original naves two attached volumes. One of them for the elevator, and in the future for some services. And the other one is the porch. And in the future, the museum will be equipped with a small cafe in the corner room, which will allow the domestic management of the building and will serve the users of the park. And that is my small explanation about the building and the project. If you have any question.
Gracias. Escuchaba, desde fuera, pero. Deux mots sur cette connexion. On est la septième, donc c'est pour un peu pour les autres connaissent. Olivier, par exemple, c'est déjà la deuxième fois. Mais il y a tous les agences, les nouveaux. Donc, on a 4 territoires avec la thématique architecture en transition. 4 territoires, donc Barcelone, Catalogne, Wallonie-Bruxelles, qu'on répète parce qu'on a très bonne entente avec les Belges. Et la nouvelle partie, c'est 2 territoires, 2 pays différents. Donc, c'est Luxembourg, 10 projets, et le Grand Est, donc Strasbourg, Nancy, Metz, toutes ces régions-là, avec 10 projets. L'idée, c'est un peu, on commence avec Barcelone. Donc, on est ici aussi pour se connaître. Donc, l'idée, c'est à chaque fois de faire un débat, échange des portfolios, faire des visites. Donc, on a des visites le jour après. Et essayer de faire venir plus de gens possible pour la prochaine événement. On commence avec Barcelone. On ira à Bruxelles en novembre. Peut-être ça change les dates. Et puis, on sera au Luxembourg là, au début de l'année prochaine. Date à confirmer. Chaque fois, il y a un catalogue. Donc, chaque fois qu'on va dans l'événement prévu, cette fois, c'est le catalogue de Barcelone. Donc, il y a les 20 projets de Barcelone. Mais il y a aussi un résumé des autres projets à la fin. C'est très important. Évidemment, à Bruxelles, on présente les Bruxellois. À Luxembourg, les Luxembourgeois. Et on espère, je regarde Julie, d'aller aussi à Strasbourg pour présenter les Français. Je crois que c'est tout. Pour que sachiez, alors, dans cette organisation, on est en partnership avec Wallonie-Bruxelles Architecture, je vois là, la directrice, Luxembourg Architecture Center for Architecture, et on espère de nouveau, Julie, d'avoir aussi une institution française qui puisse participer prochainement. C'est tout. Moi et Xavi, c'est les commissaires de City Connection, donc vous nous verrez chaque fois dans tous les événements. Moi, c'est Nicolas, Xavier.
Je pas parle français. English very bad, but I'll try. In something in Catalan, I'll tell you also. This is the first step, no? This thank you everybody to be here, to travel with us, to share these 3 days, sharing our experience, visiting buildings, a bit of party, you'll see, today and tomorrow. And of course, the Sonar Festival that they are in the same time than us, a big party. So, thanks to everybody has coming, but also thanks to the institutions that support us for these years, because if they don't help us with different kind of support, it's impossible to do it. And also thanks not only to public administration, but also private sponsors like Benito and Simon, because for us it is very important to have in the project, because also is always is to share different kind of knowledge. I think the best important in this today is the beginning of this connection that I think Nicola told you. We have 3 exhibitions here in Brussels, in Luxembourg, maybe in Strasbourg also, and some itinerances. We will visit some cities, and the group is bigger and bigger and bigger in each connection. So we have implied in this project more than 300 studios in these years. So for us it's important to... And we'll begin to know each other, to share these small books, these small magazines at every studio. And before to begin the debate, because we are in the frame of the Semanas de Arquitectura, is the best important event in architecture in these days in Barcelona. I would like to pass the microphone to Maria Bohigas. She is the architect chief of Barcelona. Maybe she can begin. Then César Reyes, she is now in Luxembourg, will begin with some questions for the people to break the ice. No? Okay. Gràcies a tots els que heu vingut i alguns d'edicions anteriors, i comencem a trencar el gel i a partir d'aquí ja veurem, i quan acabi el debat podrem compartir unes cerveses i un pica-pica fora. Passo la paraula a Maria Bohigas. Gràcies, Maria.
Well, good afternoon. Welcome to those who come from other places. Bona tarda als que sou d'aquí. Well, Xavier and Nicola were very persistent, asking me to come today and to share with you. Okay. Okay, sorry. Sorry. I will look at the people, okay, if you don't mind. So I think that it's always a good idea to come together, to share the work, to share the challenges, to share experiences, basically because we all come from different cities, but somehow we will end up, well, you will end up developing different solutions in each reality, in each context, but at the end of the day, most of the cities around the world, we are facing similar problems. I have had the chance to look through very, very quickly, but through the materials, not on the exhibition, but what Nicola and Xavier shared with me a couple of weeks ago. And well, I'm very convinced, not only, and in my responsibility right now, that in most of our cities in Europe, mostly, we are facing and will keep facing the construction based on what is already built. So in this idea, in English, I love this trend and all this philosophy under the label of adaptive reuse, because basically we will be adapting pre-existing architectures in order to reuse them, because there is no other option for most of our cities. We don't have more land to transform, but also we don't want to transform more land because we need that land for other complementary uses. And so as part of the agenda that we are all facing in our cities is this, to find and to scale and to scale and I will say also speed this adaptive reuse. And it's not easy, and I'm aware of that. I'm here, today as the institution, the City Council of Barcelona, and I'm totally aware that it's much more easier and still being much more easier to build new architectures than to rebuild from existing ones. We have a lot of bureaucracy, we have a lot of constraints, we have a lot of issues that it's in our side, the responsibility to update them in order to facilitate your work. We are trying and we are starting to work in that direction. I hope that next time and the coming events that we will have in the future, I will be able to be much more specific on changes that we have been able to deliver. Also, I want to take advantage, having you all here in this exhibition, also to say not only that we are these weeks, the 7 weeks of focus on architecture with over 180 different activities on all kind of architecture, urban design, planning, landscape, for professionals, for citizens, in schools. But in less than 2 years, in 2026, the city of Barcelona will host the Congress of the Unión Internacional de Arquitectos, and since I'm sure you are already aware, since the last two previous congresses, UNESCO and UIA, let's say, gives the city that hosted the Congress this capital, this condition of the world capital of architecture for an entire year. You can imagine that have the chance to, over 10 months, I realize that we cannot compete with Christmas, so more or less it's over 10 months. The city will be all over in the 10 boroughs, let's say, occupied by different kinds of proposals to bring architecture and all the disciplines, as I was mentioning, design, landscape, but also planning and anything that has to do with the definition of the physical space within we develop our everyday life. The city will propose, not the city only, through all the proposals that we are at this moment starting to gather, the city will be able to propose a very extensive program that I hope you will visit us at that time to share that with us. We are also, we want that year to leave a legacy, and yesterday we launched a competition for international competition of ideas for young architects under 35 to develop until that year 10 blind walls, one per each different borough. So if you are professors at architecture schools, please make me a favor, share this competition that you can find in the website of the City Council, but also on the Fundación Mies van der Rohe that we have launched, and it's an international competition all over the world. The jury will cover as well. We have a member jury of each region of the 5 areas in which the UIA and UNESCO divided the entire globe. This will be part of the legacy, but I'm sure we will have the chance to gather and to develop ideas and great proposals. And also we would like during that year not only to host here activities and proposals to explain and to bring close to the citizens how architecture and why through our work we contribute to improve people's life, but also we would like to become a small antenna in whatever happens in your city related to architecture, so that we are looking for this kind of exchange, that the city will be open for all these activities, but we would love also to be part, if they're in other places around the world during that year, in also events or conferences or whatsoever that happens where you come from, that also relates to this discipline. Nothing else from my side. I'm just happy to be here this afternoon with you, and I hope we will enjoy the coming debate.
Okay, so I think now it's my turn. That's because anyone who sits here has to do some kind of intervention. So it's a pleasure to see some familiar faces. It's a pleasure to see new faces joining this wonderful experience, which is Cities Connection. I think I know Nicola and Xavi from 14, 15 years now, and believe me, the same freshness of the first exchange is still there. Right now we are kind of tense because some of you have just arrived, kind of, oh, it's true. But, well, hello. Have just arrived, are kind of knowing the place, knowing each other. But after these 2-3 days that you will be here, believe me, the experience, it's really engaging. And what I really like is to see that even people that have been participating in previous edition and maybe don't have a project featured here, is such amazing experience that they repeat again, just by the sake of conviviality. This is one of the values that I want to highlight from this exchange, the spirit of conviviality that has been somehow created by the work of Xavi Nicola and Cities Connection Project, because in some way also revive that fascination of traveling when we were studying and visiting architecture, no? I think this is something that it's somehow kept, that make this exchange so inspiring for all of us. Before getting into the debate itself, I want to really say thanks to all the studios that kindly collaborate, sending information, sharing information, following some specification that may appear a bit like strict. I'm very happy that it worked, because it's, believe me, it's very difficult to manage information for so many studios. Each one of you have your very own particular way of working, and it's so rewarding finding that level of collaboration. So the fact that we have the catalog here and the exhibition with the 60 panels over there, with more than 60 studios, you know, this level of, I will say, collective effort has its recompense here. And this is something I really want to congratulate and to say thank you to all of you. The result is included in the catalog, so you will be able as studios to bring this back to your places, and also to see how your project establish dialogues with projects in other contexts. There is something important, I think, in the projects selected for this edition, and it's this notion of, I will say, originality. I studied that in a time in which architecture, one of its premises was to be fully creative and somehow praising mastership, and in which the value of rehabilitation or repair was, I will say, anecdotal. So it's really nice to see how current practices have been adapting to such condition. There is something that was posted by the curators of CCP that says that transition is something that is inevitable, okay? At some point it will be hard, challenging, but we cannot avoid to adapt that. And I think the projects that are shown here somehow tell that this is possible, and keeping some level of quality that allow us to exchange those values with others, meaning that new generations can really learn a new way of making architecture. And I'm really pleased to see that this is possible. This is possible to see the projects of rehabilitation and some exciting architecture adventure. You are demonstrating that. So I really want to somehow break the ice, asking to the studios that are coming here how you relate with this challenge, because I know it's not easy. You have mentioned the many obstacles that are right now posed to practices trying to deal with the pre-existences. There are norms that need to be fulfilled, but also there are questions of materials that maybe for us, it's something which is new. So I want to know in this occasion, and I will take the opportunity, seeing this beautiful material that you brought here is something that for me as publisher is really nice to see the diverse production of studios that somehow allow us to communicate architecture. So for me, it's also inspiring that beside our catalog, each one of you make the effort to bring this paper in your suitcases, because paper weights, no? I'm sure you work, oh shit, I have to put this in my suitcase, this is more weight. It's very nice to see that you bring and share this material. So I will use this material to trigger that discussion. So here we have the work of Artau, portfolio. Artau, who's representing Artau? Okay, thank you for sharing your portfolio. I will ask you to come here and to share with us some of the ideas that are contained in your portfolio. Of course, your project is also contained here. You will see in the catalog. But I would like to establish that dialogue with you here. So can you please come? There are more people here, very familiar, Specimen, OFA. So it's nice that you have. Hello? No, it doesn't work. It worked, I think so. Yes, it works.
Okay.
Okay, welcome, please. Can you tell us your name? And
Okay, Benjamin Robinson, with Administrator from Artés. And hoy día presentamos el proyecto, donc nous présentons aujourd'hui le projet du Val-Benoît. El Val-Benoît es una transformación de un edificio de la Facultad de Mecánica de Lieja. Es una transformación para poner 232 alojamientos juntos. Y es un poco como aquí, es un lugar, una transformación con otra programación.
¿Cómo, do you want to speak Spanish or English?
No sé, más fácil en español.
Ok, ¿cómo se relaciona Artaud con la preexistencia? ¿Hay un espíritu de conocer, estudiar los materiales o básicamente...
el edificio es un poco particular, es un edificio que representa como un paradigma del modernismo en Lieja. Hemos estudiado el patrimonio de este edificio, es un signo de esta época típica. La intención del proyecto es respetar la identidad de este this is a piece of story, and but the aim of the project is to change the programmation.
¿Cuál sería para Artaud el mayor reto que enfrenta ahora como estudio respecto a las condiciones de cambio climático y conciencia ambiental que tenemos enfrente? ¿Cuál creerías tú que es ese mayor reto?
Una buena pregunta. Creo que algo importante para nosotros es de tener las cosas en el tiempo, sin tecnología. Entonces, la cosa es de poner cosas simples que la utilización es un improvimiento, en mejorar, no sé si se dice en español, mejorar la calidad del lugar. Es un poco difícil en español, hace tiempo que no he hablado de español castellano, hace 10 años.
No, pero muy bien expresado, muchas gracias. Sí. Bueno, perfecto, gracias por la intervención.
Disculpe por el castellano.
Es perfecto, magnífico. I invite you to come and see their portfolio and also the portfolios of the other studios. I will move forward. You will notice that there is a surprising strong presence of Belgium firms. So that's good to see, no? Maybe in the next iteration we will have the contrary. From Specimen, who is the representative of Specimen? Bonjour. Hello. Well, just a bit to know who you are and what is the philosophy of a Specimen towards the projects of rehabilitation and transition, basically in the same line as I asked to your colleagues of Artés.
Hello. Yes, we are Specimen. We are a Belgian architecture office. We are a very small practice. Actually, we are only 2 people, and so we are a very small office. And we are presenting today a project of co-housing in a city called Namur. Namur is located in the French-speaking part of Belgium, And it's a co-housing conceived by actually it was 5 families plus offices. So we are sharing spaces. Actually, we also are inhabitants of the projects since our office is located in the project. And we are sharing spaces with the inhabitants. The aim of the project is that people wanted to share spaces and live inside the city. It must be a little bit common, but you have to know that in Belgium and in the French-speaking part of Belgium particularly, cities are not very a source of inspiration for young people trying to found a family and to raise a family, because some people tend to go to the countryside to buy a house with a garden, and it's the dream of people actually. And our clients wanted really to live inside the city, and they accepted to have little units for living, but to share common spaces like a common kitchen, a garden, laundry room, and friend. We have a commodity to welcome friends at some times, and we think it's a way to maybe try to make people want to live in cities, and it's a little project that we like, and we think it's maybe be a solution to make people want to live inside the city, and not go always try to find a house, build a houses outside Belgium.
May I complement this with a question? How you relate yourself not only as the reality is not that common, that changed the rules of the game, or not really?
Yeah, it was a very specific situation, because it wasn't the purpose at the beginning. We didn't want it to share this project, but at some point we decided to go with the inhabitants and to buy a piece of this building, and it's very to see on the long term how the inhabitants share the space we imagine like sharing spaces. Actually, now it's been 2 years that we are sharing the spaces with them, and we can see that some things works and some don't, and it's very interesting.
Okay, thank you very much for being here and for sharing your material with us. So here is a specimen. Now, all of you that brought material, you're thinking, what the hell I brought things because I have to speak in public. No? I really like this one. Well, I like it all because I make books. So I will ask B plus, right? B. Please, can you introduce yourself briefly and talk about what you brought to Cities Connection today, please? Maybe for the sake of the camera, it will be good if you stand up.
Does that work? Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Wow. Thank you. So my name is Nicolas. I'm from the office VVV. This is our small publication here.
Beautiful, by the way. Yeah? Really
thank
nice.
you. Well, it's about the project called Marie Janson. You can see it just in the Belgian thingy, just there. So it's a renovation of a public space in Brussels that we did together with Studio Paola Vigano.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a collaborative project. And I can talk maybe about the little object actually we did. Yeah. Thank you. It's very nice. So we actually for us it was an interesting experience to talk about a project and to make it like an object.
Mm-hmm.
So we collaborate with a graphist designer to Studio Otamendi to make this book comes, and it's the aim to be maybe one first step of other publication in the future about our practice, about what we do. So we wanted to be there was two collaborations. There was a graphic designer, but also a photograph. So the project. I won't talk very much about the project. You may, or maybe later you can
check over there. Right?
Yes, on the panel it will be more obvious, but. For what we did for this project, we worked with a photograph, Michiel de Kleen, who made photograph during the whole process of the project. So before the project was realized, during the realization of the project, and after the realization of the project. And so this publication is actually the collection of all these photographs, of the story of the project, of all the also references for all the materials we used to maybe understand. And how we did it is like there's like 2 or 3 parts. There's a cover with the text and with all the information, and there's inside there's the
the plans, no, and
some axonometry plans, so to like the second part of the how to understand the project, and then the photographs themselves of all the images are the third part to understand the project. So together, maybe you have a bit of knowledge about the project itself. But I can talk a bit about the project though. And we named it Recycle, Replan, Reappropriate because it's thank you. There was the ambition about the project is actually to work with the existing condition on the site. So the public space itself was a former. Actually, first it was the place where the money was stamped, but there was a building there, a very big building, was totally demolished in the year 70s, 80s, because in Brussels there was a sort of a trend to demolish a lot of buildings during the 70s and the 80s. And so it became a space with nothing on it. The cities wanted to build something, and they decided to pave it, to plant some trees, and to put some parking lots on the sites. And it stayed like this for 30, 40 years. And then finally, with some also involvement of the public, of a participative process, they decided to renovate it. And yeah, for us, so there was a competition, etc. And for the competition, we say, okay, there's actually everything is there on the site. We just need to recycle the existing pavement. We just to protect the trees and to plant some more trees. And we just need to take all the uses that was made during this participative process and to enhance them and to make them last for a longer time.
To literally reappropriate what is there, no?
Yeah, exactly. So the whole project is about that. It's a reappropriation of what was there, but just reinterpret it for new uses and for also uses of a 21st century park, plain in a city, in a dense city.
Okay, thank you. There is architects in some way, part of our task also dealing with the way we were educated. Let's say we have some things in which we are good, other in which we are not that good, and I think it's something we are terrible. But in one of the things I think architects are really good is finding patterns, no? And to finding patterns in reappropriation, it's a big challenge because really you really have to be a good observer, and then to apply them in a meaningful project. It's something that with the first gaze of the projects that are here, we have seen that this ability is there. And I think this is something that should be improved in some way and communicated in a more clear way to the students. So thank you very much for bringing these kind of examples. I think this is something from which all of us, but also the architects to come, will learn a lot. Thank you very much. So please, let's give a clap to BBB Architects. Here we have another register of publication, General. Who's from General? Hello, welcome. We have seen before, right? Maybe it was connection, shared living spaces, no? Exactly. But can you please introduce yourself and explain a little bit what did you wrote?
My name is Grégoire. I work at General in Brussels with Florence that is sitting there trying to hide So we made some very little foldable stuff that shows how unspecialized we are in our work. We came today with the project of a park, just like Nicolas, in the center of Brussels, and inside there is a restaurant, a brewery. We do sort of every kind of stuff. We, how can I say that? We do not pretend to be good at anything. We try to learn as much as we can from every project, and just to, let's say, to put some words about the park that is just right there in the corner. Basically, it was, because we were talking adaptive reuse and stuff, it was a park before our arrival. It's in a place that was very traumatized in a quite harsh neighborhood of Brussels, and we just made a playground. We tried to use every difficulty of the site, every boring aspect of it, to make it play support for kids of the neighborhood. So it's quite colorful. There are slides everywhere, and we tried to make the place funny instead of sad. It's just, I mean, it's pretty simple to explain like this. It was technically a bit more complex, but then the idea remained the same, just to play all around the city. That's it.
Okay, thank you very much for the intervention, and please, I recommend, this is not heavy, so it will be nice that you bring back with you. I will move to the center, jump here. Pretty good, eh? OFA, yeah. No. Very nice publication, by the way. I will really thank you for bringing this here. Can you please introduce yourself and talk about your portfolio?
Hi, my name is Olivier. It's the second time we've been invited here, so I'd like to thank you, all of you guys, for hosting us and for the organization, which is really great. You will have the occasion to see this this weekend. We have an office in Belgium, Wallonia, in Liège. We mostly work in Liège and in the province. We work on different scales, budgets, type of programs, like I guess every one of you guys. We did this little booklet for this occasion, so that's why we did it. We made it very small because we wanted to be able to keep it in a pocket and not to lose it in the wild Barcelona nights. So you've selected a project this time of another farm that we've refurbished in the Wallonia rural site. But this booklet, we decided to show other projects, and we asked a dear friend, architect, if he could write something about our office, because we're good at talking, but pretty bad at writing. And so he decided to talk about our office and using the context as an entry into our project. So we selected 10 projects we did in the past 25 years of existence of our office. And through the text, you can discover those projects.
Okay, thank you very much. Also in your practice, I remember there is a big dose of mediation. I think this is some of the other characteristics that studios dealing with projects in transition have to really skill at its best. I really want to point to that, because I think you kind of find a way of effectively mediate that political dimension of your work. For me, it's quite interesting. Can you please make a point on that? How important is that for you?
Well, actually, we can talk about the project that is shown today in the exhibition, which is a farm that we had to refurbish and transform into dwellings. Nobody wanted of this project, so we had to meet the neighbors, the mayor, everyone, many times. The project actually took like 12 years to complete, just because of that. We had also birds, little animals, special plants. Everything was there to slow the project. But I think that by just discussion, but I think all of you guys do the same. it's only by mediation that you can go on, and I think also create a project that has sense where it is built or transformed.
This is something that it's very important because at the end, we cannot really see that part on the panel. That's what I put this, the focus. I think we have a comment here.
Because I wanted to add that this is an international project, but because we are talking about local projects. We select local projects and we exchange this information because we travel to different cities. But I would to ask, because I don't know why, but only are talking about projects in Belgium, no? Because their publications are here.
That's what way, because I have found some Luxembourgish material over there, and there are some Spanish here.
But so one thing I wanted to ask is, what happens when we are making a project abroad? Because in this kind of situation that you need a local studio to make a project, a partner, we have some studios from Barcelona that they are doing now. Architectures, they are doing. Mayo are working abroad. Artés have won some competitions abroad. I don't know what about the studios in Brussels, in Belgium, in Luxembourg, in Grand Est. Some of you are working outside of your country? No? I would, yeah? How does it function?
Well, yeah. So I'm Frédéric. Hello, thanks for having me here and us. So my practice, I'm not from Brussels actually, I'm there since 15 years or something. We've been existing for the last 10 years officially, exactly actually this year. And I did some projects outside, but actually I started outside being based in Brussels, thanks for connections, so it's mainly private projects. So some projects were built in Lebanon, other in London. Now I'm starting a project in Lisbon. And how does it work? In collaboration, basically. It's I think it's almost impossible to be alone, of course, in Brussels, and having to manage your work in the city you live in, and at the same time somewhere else with other norms, another culture that you need to understand and decode. So, I mean, wherever the project is, it's very important to understand the local culture, taste, and economy, and needs, and lifestyle. And yeah, so all the projects, I didn't do many outside Brussels, like let's say 95% of them are in Belgium. But the experience of doing it outside the frontier is always very exciting, because it's really another approach that kind of feeds your local practice afterwards by communicating and understanding that it doesn't function only the way you're used to. Yeah, I don't know if I kind of answered.
No, what do you think, Xavi? Thank you very much for pointing to that aspect. There is something, and now that you mentioned this, of course, I'm talking about the material you brought, because it's a way of saying thanks for sharing this with us. Obviously, from tomorrow on, we will have the opportunity to visit local projects. That will be a wonderful opportunity. But taking Xavi's point on also talking about the challenges of local projects, one of the projects which is here, which is basically a project of negotiation and refurbishment of a square, is by un parell d'arquitectes. I don't know if un parell d'arquitectes are here. Hey, hello, yeah. So, well, you didn't bring the publication, but it's one of the projects that I think deals with these new skills of mediation that I think are needed for architects. Can you please come here and talk a little bit about Bon Dia Carmela, or Carme? And it happened that you brought material, bravo. So, benvingut, si pots presentarte.
Good afternoon. My name is Edward from un parell d'arquitectes. That means a pair of architects because it seems unparalleled when you read. So this is the book we have
nice.
bring here because this is the first number of a magazine by Andrés Puente and Miquel Mariner called Passarella, and each number is dedicated to a city. In this case, the first number was dedicated to Barcelona, and there is several articles about people talking about the city, not specifically architects, but talking about architecture. And there is one, let's say, local studio. In this case, was an interview that made us David Stigman and Adrià Scolano about the places or the things that somehow are important or relevant behind our work. In this case, you were talking, it's a refurbishment of a square. The first step in this case was to change the commitment. The commitment was to renew the pavement, and you know the center of the towns and the cities, we have another problems as back-end dwellings, back-end premises, all the displacement of the activity to the peripheral areas. So we thought we have to ask to the town hall not to destinate the money in a more expensive payment or to renew it, but invest in the ground floor premises. And we get in 1 year, in 1 square, 1,000 square meters of new commercial activity. Nowadays it's difficult. This was the pandemic year, 2021, the second one.
Year to
so it was
people, yes.
a difficult year. And the key of this was to build a community about the squares. There were a lot of people, I don't know, have so many words in English, but let's say depressed about the situation of this old part of the town. So they were they saw with some illusion this approach, and were the neighbors who talking between them and to us, who were searching. I know a guy that is searching a premise to install a burger, for example. And then we talk to the town hall, how can we help this guy? And this was all this negotiation. And the operation was dividing the works in 4 stages during 1 year. And each stage incorporates the things that we have got in the previous one. No? If we have a new operator for back-end premise, we can invest in this place and we take the money off from another place. No?
And
so
this element was incorporated to the project itself, no?
Of the project itself.
Okay, it's a project that demands slowness and also a lot of attention in that process of mediation. I think this is one of the interesting things, and that's what I also brought your project to the table, because it's one of the elements that practices need to take consciously more in consideration, because at the end really changed the physiognomy of the project itself. You say that the main commitment was to change the materiality, no, of the square. You give a twist over there and brought that social dimension, which I think is something relevant. So thank you very much for your project, for sharing your experience. On purpose, I also asked to you, because I know your project won't be one of the visits because it's a bit more far away from Barcelona. But, well, I invite all of you to also explore both in the catalog and take the opportunity to exchange comments with Umparel and the other offices that are here. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Cesar, and welcome to Barcelona.
So I will go back to the books of the table. But I won't extend that much, because I think we are also willing to go and having some drinks. Okay? But now I found here some tiny applications and Steam Studio from Luxembourg, 2001. I saw 2001 around there. I will ask either Sergio, Philippe to please jump to the table and talk a little bit about these publications, this beautiful object that you can find here, you know. kind of dollhouse, no? Welcome to Barcelona, Philippe. Thank you for joining Cities Connection project. And yes, maybe you can present yourself and a bit of your, I will say, the ethos, the philosophy of 2001 towards projects of rehabilitation and repair that I think is one of the main tasks that many of the studios have here. So please, Philippe.
It's a tough question. So we're 2001. I came with my partner Sergio and Lise, who's the chef de projet of the project that we show. And Lise is from Wallonia, since most of the officers from Luxembourg work rather with the greater region. So that's maybe also answering to the question of international working. And quite funny, it's that one of the professors of Lise is in the crowd. VVV we met on another project, so it's a bit already incestuous, so that's interesting. On the publications, yes, we are a small office, like many maybe here. That's why we do very small publications that are more like zines. And since the publication finishes something, it's also a bit, we thought, quite monumental, no, that you wrap it up. So we did a box because we built boxes to fill up with small projects, because most of them are rehabilitation projects where we usually either lose money, lose friends, lose collaborators, but they are still very important to us. And so roughly it's almost like a cercueil, I don't know how to say that, but where we put, it's an ongoing publication, where the ethos is then this: we collect projects that are important, that are sometimes not very economically viable.
It's a risk, no? So how you consider the task of 2001 in the context of Luxembourg? We will have the opportunity to visit you over there next year. I'm curious to hear a bit about that, because you're kind of trying to do a practice in a context in which maybe it's not that friendly for projects prioritizing rehabilitation.
I think there's many architects here that can speak of that. So yes, we have a bulldozer culture. I think that is rather clear. It's, the ethos in Luxembourg is usually that it's more economically viable to destroy and then rebuild. Also to keep this building economy, which is the second economical pillar of the country, running, I guess. So there's a new discussion about understanding also the implicit heritage and not just the picturesque heritage of the UNESCO label that we in Luxembourg City have. And so I think that is new, and that institutions like Luca, also the Master in Architecture, are starting to a bit problematize this, but that's rather young. Yeah.
It's part of the challenge. Thank you very much, Philippe, and congratulations. We invite you to pick some of the material from 2001. Okay, a nice publication that we have here, the A Architects. Who's the responsible, please? Okay, well, both of you, if you want to come. Please, can you introduce yourself and talk about this beautiful piece that you brought? I really like the project, but maybe you can also give 2 cents on that.
Okay. I'll try with my which we are a young office. Yeah, it's hard to believe, but no. We found it 7 years ago. I've had another life before, and with mode, and today with all our team, Sacha earlier, but Rémi, Jean-Yves, and Clara. J'ai oublié personne? No. Okay. We are here because it's for us a reward for this project of the MUHBA Ballet School. It's still a particular project.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you please make it
like this? Is better? Okay. One day, 2 years after the creation of our office, a private person, called to our phone on the fixed phone. Nobody called to us on the fixed phone, and she told, "I want to meet you because I've just bought the former National Bank of Liège, a great building of 10,000 square meters. And I want to create a new dance school. Okay. We met her, and 2 weeks later we signed our contract after just a sketch. And we tried, in the next month we do feasibility, and we signed the feasibility, and puff, the COVID. And at this time we continue the project with her. And her husband with the video conference, and we try to advance in the project because she would like to open the school in 22, 1 year later after, and which I don't. We try to. You want to continue? Yes.
To explain a little bit the project, it's very complex to design a ballet school in a bank, because all the spaces are very small. The walls are very thick. So instead of changing everything and destroying the building, we choose to make intervention on the strategic position on the building, and to conserve the existing spirit of the bank. So we made some extension, cubic extension, and we preserve all the materials like marble, wood, inox steel, so we can feel the bank spirit in the building.
And just to explain, our book is just for us the occasion, the opportunity to have a look on of 7 years, because we built extension of housing of 20 square meters, and just to illustrate the position of the client of the bank, she told us, I want you build my school like you transform my house. Okay, so it was difficult, like with a private client. We try to change his house with a few money, and voilà. Okay, it's singular. It's difficult in English for me, but I hope you have understood the main thing of the project. Okay, okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Vamos a hacer ya el wrap up, porque tenemos que ir a tomar ya un aperitivo, ¿no? I want to say thank you all. There are still 3 studios that didn't have the opportunity to talk about the project. The publications are here. Once again, thank you very, very much first for being here. You will enjoy a lot these 3 days. Also, thanks for bringing your material. And now I kindly invite you to break the formality and let's have some drinks and talk in an informal way. Yes, yes, yes. From tomorrow, so we will keep the attention. Every studio will have one of the catalogs, okay? And also from tomorrow, when the event is finished, be able also to purchase copies via e-commerce platform of the catalog of the publishing house. And yes, now time to have fun, please, Nicola.
Non va? Si, va bene. Juste vous dire, je vous remercie pour être venu, faire un peu le résumé de... Il y a 35 architectes qui sont venus depuis la Belgique, 15 depuis la Luxembourg, 4 depuis Strasbourg, Grand Est, mais c'était les derniers invités, donc ça va. 2 de Milan qui s'est déjà des habitués, Elisabeth et Alberto, merci. Et de World Architect de Zurich, une personne. Donc il faut continuer, prochaine occasion, d'essayer d'aller, les Catalans, les Barcelonais, d'aller conquérir Bruxelles, Luxembourg, Strasbourg. Merci beaucoup, on passe à la chose sérieuse.